Si Mustafa, hello. I'm really glad to find you again. You are always here. You are always here on time. Thank you very much. This will probably be followed by Natalie. Okay, I was about to mention her name, and there she is. Good evening, Natalie. I hope you are doing well. I would like to take a few minutes to share this, and I request that you do it as well, if you can, of course, just to share the link to this live video and then come back to you and to the other friends who are going to join us probably in a moment. Thank you. Well, I will not take the trouble to share in all the groups that I have Facebook. Let me see who is sending this message. Anyway, I will close this. But I have the table of contents here to follow. So what I will probably do is just keep the window open. Okay, and then voilà. Nice. This is nice. Umayma Mwak, hello professor, I hope you're doing well. Will we discuss morphological tree? You mean the tree diagram or morphological processes, Umayma? What do you mean by a morphological tree? Is it a schema that shows the type of morphemes? Yes, if that's the case, then of course we are going to do that. You are welcome. Faiza, ahlan wa sahlan. Faiza, hello. I hope you are doing well. Doing well. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining on time. I hope your colleagues, your classmates will join us as well, especially that they may find it of concern for the simple reason that they are about to take an exam, in linguistics. It's a makeup exam, in fact. So, Mustafa, thank you very much. This is no accident in your case because you always do this. You always share these live sessions without any hesitation whatsoever. Thank you very much. Well, if there is room for a side discussion before more friends join us, then I will be very happy to start a discussion with you, especially if there are questions that relate to research or to issues in the field of linguistics that does not necessarily fall outside of the course, or that does not necessarily, fall within the scope of Introduction to Linguistics. Then we can discuss that. Waiting for more friends to join. I see that there are only 13 people watching us. I just wonder how we can start with 13 people. And I was not joking when I made it clear in the announcement that if there are not enough people interested, then it's better to keep this live session for another time. Well, anyway, we will see. We are 13. We are 12 now. Okay. Fine. If there is any prompt for a question that we can discuss, then we can do that. Waiting for more colleagues to join us. of course. There's one thing I would like to say about these discussions that we are holding every now and then. I mean, before the discussion of the main point, they are not. These discussions are not meant just to teach. They are not meant to teach anything, but just to inspire future. You see, professors and future researchers maybe to keep an eye on areas of specializations that are not necessarily theirs. That's the reason why these are probably of relevance. See, learn from the worst. Is this module in S4? I would like to take some notes. Yes. If you are a student, for example, at Mohammed V University, then this is exactly what you will do at the level of S4. In S4, there is a course called Introduction to Linguistics. There is another course called Introduction to Language. I don't know if the two courses have been lumped into one single course in the new system. I'm not clear on this because I do not teach introduction. I have not at least taught it for what seems to be a long period of time because I am busy with other modules. But for Introduction to Linguistics, I am sure there is this module here called Introduction to Linguistics, in which you will study exactly, among other things, of course, the points that we are discussing in these live sessions. So you are welcome, and it's a good idea to take notes. I like this. Mifi, hi, and Mr. Mohammed Tawshik, hello, Professor. Hello, thank you for joining this live session, of course, and maybe when this is specifically addressed to the students who have made this request for this review session. If you think that we can start, or whenever you feel that we are digressing, and then you would like us to go to get to the heart of the point, or to go to the heart of the point and start our discussion, then I can do that on the spot. If you would like us to wait for more friends to join us, then that's so much the better. So Mustafa Morshid, let's talk about spoken English. What should learners get from the course, and how does it help them in learning the sounds of the of language? Mr. Mustafa, you are asking a very important question that so many people, do not ask. And there are people who, especially among students, there are students who think that spoken English is just an addendum. It's just a course where we are bored because there are a lot of technical words, a lot of stuff in a lot of points to discuss in phonetics. Many students would shun discussions of matters concerning phonetics. If you ask them to describe a sound, for example, then they will simply say, many of them will simply say that it's not their cup of tea. So, but the fact of the matter, it's because spoken English, has at least two other components, like presentations and idiomatic expressions known as functions. Many students are more likely to enjoy being involved in class discussions and interacting and reacting to presentations than to do, stuff related or activities or exercises, for example, related to phonetics. Now, the task of the professor is to tell them, and I have been doing this, ever since I started teaching spoken English. Okay, so the professor needs to sensitize the students to the fact that these phonetics elements in the spoken English course are not in spoken English course are not just for S1. There will be a course in S4 called Introduction to Linguistics that involves phonetics, and phonetics here is inescapable in this case. Okay, so this is likely to motivate students to invest more and to take this part of spoken English seriously and to make sense of it. There is also the other point concerning, for example, just imagine that you have your 10 in spoken English and you will opt for cultural studies. Okay, well, if you opt for linguistics, then of course, one of the presuppositions is that you are aware of the features of consonants and of vowels, and therefore you can take up courses of phonology, morphophonology, with a lot of ease, and you can conduct a piece of research on a given language using the tools that you have acquired in linguistics. But, and there are some people who would say, well, I will opt for cultural studies. My friend, even if you opt for cultural studies, you will one day become a teacher. And part of becoming a language teacher is to tell students how and why a word is pronounced the way it is. Of course, you need to know how to transcribe and how to pronounce and how to assign stress and so on and so forth. So, all in all, okay, just to react to Si Mustafa's question, the phonetics component is part and parcel of the spoken English course. Granted that, of course, there are other components. So phonetics is not the only component. So, in order for students to get along with the course of Introduction to Linguistics, they have, among other things, they have to know what to know something about phonetics. It's not helpful when you wait until you start the Introduction to Linguistics course, you start the phonetics chapter, and you realize that you have to start from scratch. This is an additional burden on the shoulders of the student. Okay. This is grosso modo my reaction to Si Mustafa's very relevant question. Si Omar Abu Drar, hello, professor. Are you from Abu Drar, Mr. Omar? Hello. Yeah, Mifi, we are ready. Mustafa Murshid, phonological awareness. Yes, that's where, the seeds of phonological awareness are first, sown. Thank you. Well, I don't know what to do, actually. I'm at my wit's end, because with 16 people, we'd rather, switch off and do other things, than have this live session with only 16 people. But anyway, it's just for the sake of the students who are going to take an exam. Let's start. And if you have questions, if you are a student who will take a makeup exam, or out of sheer curiosity, you would like to ask a question, all that you need to do is to type it here, because I might miss certain points, because I'm following the structure that was sent to me by Mr. Ali Abdouni, a couple of days ago. All right. Nice. We are 19 now, and I hope more people will join. So, because they know that these introductions are probably taking some time, but this is our habit. It's one way of maybe warming up before the main points are discussed. Nice. So let me make the point that, or address this message to the people who are watching us. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, I kindly request that you do so right away. It's just a single click. And those of you who have not hit the like button, I would like you to do so right away as well. Thank you. So let's go back to the stuff concerning concerning phonetics. Yesterday we talked about the first part of consonant description, of sound description, of description of sounds, and we talked about consonants. What we need to bear in mind when it comes to the description of a consonant is that there are 3 adjectives that we have to produce. How many adjectives? 3. We have to say of a consonant that it is voiced or voiceless. The technique is to put the hand here, the finger here. We know that. The second adjective relates to the place of articulation of a consonant. It means where in the mouth is the consonant produced. Is it at the level of the lips, in which case the sound is bilabial? Is it a combination, the use of a combination of lips and the teeth, in which case we produce a labiodental stop? Is it alveolar? Is it velar? And so on and so forth. We talked about these things, and we will not reinvent the wheel. We will not revisit. We will not say things that you already know now. Okay? Good. Hello, Mr. Saeed Sharif. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us. Natalie Leblanc, voice in place manner. That's true. Si Mohamed Bisan, hello. Manikat Git. لباس السي محمد بارك الله فيك. Thank you so much. It looks like Si Mohammed is always busy. He comes and greet us, and then you probably leave to other things, but that's fine. It's okay, Si Mohammed. I usually don't find you at the end. I don't know why. Okay, But anyway, thank you very much, and it's always a pleasure to have you, Si Mohammed, and I hope we will meet on Tuesday, inshallah, for a discussion. Thank you, Si Said. I'm doing well. Barakallahu feek. Okay, now let's go back. Sukaina, Katie. So more people are joining now. Sukaina, hello. Thank you for joining us, Sukaina. Okay, if there are late, no, I'm on. Okay, you're traveling to Casablanca. Okay, I guess you are in Marrakesh or somewhere else. I guess I think it was. You told me last time that 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 you were in Marrakesh. So I wish you a safe trip, Si Mohammed, and I hope you will enjoy your trip, your travel, to Casablanca. Good. So please, again, those of you who have just joined us, share the link to this video, share the link to the channel if you can, and subscribe. Specifically, this is a specific request. Subscribe, hit the like button. Do all that it takes to help the channel probably reach more people. Now, so we talked about consonants. We are done. You have to produce 3 adjectives for consonant description. Now, what about vowels? How about vowels? Now, for vowels, again, we need to produce 3 adjectives, but we need to do so in a different way from the description of consonants. For consonants, the 3 adjectives relate to voicing. It means, is it voiced, is it voiceless? It relates, that's point 2, to place of articulation. We have just talked about that. It relates also, that's number 3, to manner of articulation, where we make the point that the sound, of course, involves a complete closure, for example, in which case we have a stop, or we had a discussion, where we discussed the difference, we pointed to the difference between a stop and a plosive. So just the more neutral term is a stop. So we talked about consonants that involve complete closure, meaning that we have a stop here. If the closure is, for example, at 98, 99%, which means that the air still moves out of the mouth and it moves with difficulty, creating a friction. We are talking about fricatives. And then we have, of course, glides. We talked about liquids. We talked about maybe other nasals, of course, and of course, vowels. We did not discuss vowels. We are going to discuss them today. Okay, good. The description of vowel sounds are based on tongue shape, tongue height, tongue advancement, and duration. Thank you. Now, this is really nice, Natalie. That's true. But for pedagogical reasons, I would like to start just with 3, and then we will talk about other features later on. Thank you, Natalie, for always being there to supplement the discussion with your very important points. Sukaina, I would want to thank you, teacher, for your efforts. I have been always struggling with phonetics, but the last session I could understand perfectly. I'm very happy that you did, Sukaina, and this is exactly why these live sessions are held. Okay, so it's for free. You are not paying anything. You just come, and it's really nice. That's the satisfaction I get from all this endeavor. Thank you for saying that clearly. Okay, Ahmed Boussel, hello. I hope you are doing well. So Mustafa is talking about lip rounding, tongue height, tongue backness. I would maybe go for this classification, although I will have to say things in a slightly different way, of course. Hello, Si Mohammed. He says, hello, Oma Nordin. Oma means my brother. Okay, so elated to see you. Thank you very much. And so happy to find you online as well. Thank you for being faithful to these live sessions. Now, let's move on to the discussion of how to describe vowels. Before I do this, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to tell you that unlike the description of consonants, the description of vowel is somehow, I will not say difficult, nothing is difficult, but it's less evident. It's less concrete. Why? Because when I say that, for example, a sound is bilabial, I can feel that the 2 lips come together. When I see, for example, that it is alveolar, I can feel the tongue, for example, touching, you see, the alveolar ridge. But for vowels, they are a little bit elusive with an elusive. Okay, they elude, I mean they escape us very quickly. You cannot tell, for example, the exact place where you put your tongue, for example, to describe, okay, a given vowel. Therefore, my advice to you, dear students, is to probably use the vowel chart. Use the English vowel chart, as long as this has to do with introduction to linguistics, and the questions are more likely to come from the English language, to relate to the English language. So use the chart, the vowel chart, in order to locate, the sounds, and try to reproduce the chart yourself. It's one way of saying try to memorize the chart. It's not going to take a lot of time for you. Okay, so when you have the vowel chart, something like this, look at this, ladies and gentlemen, something like this. Okay, sorry. Okay, something like this. Okay, so this part is the front part. This is front. Okay, so if this is a front part, this one is the back part. In the center, we have the central part. I think I can do it in a better way, very quickly. Where is the eraser? Okay. There are a lot of vowel charts anyway, so we have something like this. The chart you will find on the net has a shape close to this one. And this represents the tongue. This represents the tongue. This is the tip of the tongue. This is the back part of the tongue. So here, this is the front part. Front. So all the vowels that are located here are front vowels. Very easy, isn't it? Okay, so here, these are front vowels. Conversely, the opposite, the other side, okay, since this is a front, this is a back. All the sounds that are located here are called back vowels. How about the sounds that are located here in the center? We call them central vowels. Central vowels. So in the chart, we have a nice way and a clear way of describing vowels. Okay, and we can learn them very easily. So we need to know how to draw this shape in our minds. You can reproduce it. You can get some training in a couple of minutes. You will be able to draw the chart. Do first the chart, these first. And then, look at this sharp part, okay, that occurs to your left. This is the front part, okay? Its opposite is the back part. And of course, in the middle, we have the central part. So the tongue, in order to produce vowels, we have to divide, the tongue into parts. The front part represented here. So all the vowels that you see here are called front vowels. For example, you have the sound E is a front vowel. A little bit open, it's a front vowel. So until we are here with this sound, which is a, okay, like cat or I can't, that's the American one, okay? It's located here, it's still a front vowel. So if it's located here, 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 as long as it's to this side, it's called a front vowel. Conversely, when we have something like U here, this U like put, etc., these, and then of course you have O, and then you have A. It's something like it's the other. Sorry, this here. These are back vowels. Okay, Natalie has kindly endeavored to produce or to write, these front vowels. E, A, and then A. As you can see, and we will talk about that later on, as we move from here to here, we open, the mouth, one notch more. But whatever the case, This is the first point that I would like you to know. All in the chart, all the vowels that occur to this side, to your left, it means this line, okay, are referred to as front vowels. In the chart that you will consult on the net, just write English vowel chart and you will get something like this. And then at the back, all the vowels that you will see here are back vowels, which Natalie has, sent us as just pasted or written. It's U, O, and A. So you also have this, of course, that's true. Okay, nice. So let me go back to the point. For vowels, we need the best way. Okay, let me say that. For vowels, the best way is to get some training. It will take you maybe between half an hour and 1 hour. I repeat, between half an hour and 1 hour. Learn how to draw this. It's not a square. It's not a square like this. No, no, no. You have to, write something like this. Okay. Something like this. So that everything that you have here is front. Here, all you have are back vowels, and the middle, vowels are the central vowels. Okay. Now, so the only way, just to be brief and to be to the point, use the vowel chart better. Okay. This vowel chart very easily. I don't need to teach you individual consonants. Just by looking at them in the chart, you can tell yourself where this is located. For example, just imagine I have a vowel located here. Is it front or back? It's back. Why? Because the front vowels occur here. Okay? Imagine, for example, I have a vowel here. So it's a central vowel. Imagine I have a vowel here, front vowel. So I hope you understand this. So this is a very easy way for getting hold of the vowels or the description of vowels. Now, we have talked now about back, central, front. I repeat. Now we have talked about back or central or front. This criterion, which is the first criterion, we call it, for example, the part of the tongue involved. I repeat, in order to describe vowels, apart from the advice that I have given you here, this will make life easy for you. So if you would like to describe vowels, you also rely on 3 criteria. 3 الحوايج تاعهم بحال consonants. Number 1, what part of the tongue is involved? Answer. How many possibilities do we have here? We have 3 possibilities. Is it the front part? How can I know? Just by looking at the chart. Okay. Is it the back part? Just look here. Or is it the central part? This is number 1. It's what? Number 1, you can write it, those who are taking notes. The first criterion, the first parameter, the first adjective, okay, relates to what part of the tongue is involved. If a tongue is like this, then is it this part, or this part that is involved? It's horizontal. Okay, nice. Now, for Mustafa, for the cardinal vowel, probably that would serve the purposes of someone doing phonology, perhaps. But for someone taking a course in general linguistics, then most likely they are based on the vowel charts of English, and they can dispense with the cardinal vowel system of Daniel Jones. Granted that this is a very efficient and a very nice way of locating and describing any vowel in any language. Okay, so maybe this one here, for pedagogical reasons, I think the students need to do it this way. Now, how many criteria have we talked about for the description of vowels? We have talked about 1. How many are left? We are left with 2. So the second criterion, okay, now this is horizontal. What part of the tongue? If you take the part of the tongue, you go horizontally, the front part, the middle part, or the central part, or the back part. Now, there is the second criterion. This time, it's how high is the vowel in the mouth? How high is the tongue, in the mouth? because our tongue in our mouth, it can be low. You just imagine that this is the tongue. It can be like this, like when I say in cat, the tip of the tongue, it has to stick to the lower part of the mouth, to the lower mandible. Okay, it has to stick there. So we call it, for example, a low vowel. Okay, but when I say e, the tongue raises, it almost touches the upper teeth. Okay, so as we can see here, another dimension for describing vowels is to check with the second parameter, which is how high the tongue is in the oral cavity. Now, how can I see that in this chart? Okay, very easy. You keep the same chart. So we have been looking at it this way. Now we are going to look at it this way. So all the vowels that you see here are called high vowels. All the vowels that you see here are called low vowels. And all the vowels that you see here are called mid vowels. Okay, for example, the sound E here, we found it in this direction. It means it's a front vowel, but it's high in the mouth. So we call it a high front vowel. For example, is it front or back? It's front because it's here. And is it low or high? It's low because it's here. It's here. Okay, it's low, not here, for example. You see, in the same vein, this O here, is it front? No, it's not because it's located here. Is it low or high? It's high. Look at this. These ones are low. This is high. These are mid vowels. This is what I want to say about vowels, and they will solve, this method will help you solve the problem of vowel description with a lot of ease and without, without breaking your nerves. You see, it's very peaceful. You can peacefully learn that, and all that you need to do is just 1 hour from your time. Try to draw the chart, and maybe you, in the first 10 minutes you work on the front part. The second, you work on the middle part. The third 10 minutes, you work on the back part. And then you go to the front, the high, the mid, the low. Okay? So mid, high, mid, low, yes. Of course, if it's located here, it's mid, high. If it's located here, it's mid, low. But you can still refer to them as mid vowels without any problem whatsoever, unless you want to be detailed. If, of course, the exam requires that, then you have to specify whether it's mid-low or mid-high, okay? Because sometimes in phonology there are, features that are, minus high, minus low. It means they are mid vowels, regardless of whether they are mid-high or mid-low, okay? Khadija Belghazi, good evening. Thank you for joining. I hope you will like the contents of today's session. Okay, so let me summarize. So far, what did we say? We said that, unlike consonants, vowels are a little bit not really precise, not physically felt. Okay? هذا رقم واحد. Number 2, there is a very good technique, fortunately, for us to be able to describe vowels by learning the vowel chart and by understanding why it is like this. You should understand that the leftmost part, look, this is my left hand, leftmost part, which has this type of boat shape. Okay, so here the deck of the boat. So this is the front part. The opposite is the back part, the high part, the low part, and we can play with the central vowel or the mid vowel here. That's it. Okay, so we talked about what part of the tongue is involved. That's number 1. The possible answer is we have a low vowel, it's a high vowel, it's a mid, it's a front vowel, it's a back vowel, it's a central vowel. Now, the second criterion is how high in the mouth, or where in the mouth is our tongue positioned. Okay, we have possibilities. Is it high? Is it mid or mid-high, below? Or is it low? How can I know that in the chart? Just by looking at this physically, you can see the location. Okay, I'm afraid I have to draw it again. just for reasons of further illustrations, well, something like this, like this, like this, okay? So it's very easy. Here we have, okay, okay, front. Here we have back. Here we have, so here we have central. And here we have high. Here we have low. I hope you understand, Please type your confirmation if you understand. Specifically those students who are going to take the exam. Okay. Umayma Mwak says, if you have time or in another live, inshallah, we need to know how to draw and analyze morphological trees. These trees show how words are formed by breaking. Okay. That's very easy. Yes. Inshallah, we can do that in a moment. Yes, we can do that in a moment. Fine. Thank you, Umayma, for your question. Interesting. So can we just proceed with the third? Okay, now we have the third one, which is relatively easy, the third criterion, because now we have talked about question one. Question one, what part of the tongue is involved? Possible answers, front, back, central. Question two, how or where in the mouth, or how high is the tongue in the mouth? We have possible answers. You see, high, low, mid. We can distinguish between mid-high and mid-low, as Natalie has said. Now we are moving to the third question, which is very easy. Third question, you can see that without any problem. Some vowels are pronounced by rounding the lips, and some, vowels are produced by leaving the lips in peace. Okay. For example, the vowel U necessitates that you round your lips, but the vowel A does not involve any lip rounding whatsoever. Therefore, we have two possibilities here. Possibility one, it's rounded vowel, and possibility two is unrounded vowel. For example, when I say the word U, okay, let me. Somebody in a comment said that I have to buy a digital board. I will think about it. Okay, I know nothing about them for the moment. Okay, I will see if I can do that, but this will depend on whether there are people who might be interested in this. Because if I buy a digital board, the only use I can make of it is a live session. Okay, so I have first to make sure that this is going to sustain. Okay, nice. So, okay, this. Just imagine I have O here, and I have a here, and I have a shva here. Okay, let's work on these as an illustration, as a demo. The rest you will do because it's very easy. Now, imagine the professor asks me to provide a description for this sound, the sound O. Then, because I have worked on this diagram, on this chart, I will see that U is not a front vowel because it's located here. After a lot of training, I will have this in mind. When I say U, I have to locate it here, not, for example, here or here. Okay, so we do not locate, sounds wherever we want. Okay, so we locate them because this is, an illustration, a crude approximation of an illustration of the tongue. Okay, nice. Sorry. So this O here, I can see that I will tell the professor in my answer that O is a high. It's high. It's not low. A high, not front. Back. It's a high back rounded vowel. Okay, I have successfully described that. So high back rounded because you cannot say U without pursing your lip. Otherwise, it will be something like Okay, nice. Now, if I am asked to write this, to provide the description for this, this is the sound that you have in cat. So I know that it's located in the front part of the tongue because in the chart it's located here. So I would, and it's not high, it's low. Look at where it is located. So I will say about this sound that it is a low front unrounded vowel. Unrounded. علاش unrounded? Because you have the prefix un, which means it's not rounded. Unrounded. UN rounded, okay? So this is the idea, of, behind vowel descriptions. This is the technique. This is a very good technique that I would like you to follow, and I'm sure you will produce very good answers in your questions. Yes, unrounded, for example, for E, C, that's true. But Faiza, I would like you to unrounded, not unmounted. Faiza, I think you have a keyboard issue, right? Okay, Faiza, you can. So here, the E is. So you said unrounded, but we need two other adjectives. So it's what? It's a front and it's a high. So we say it's a high front unrounded vowel. Okay, confirm this. Faiza, okay. Mustafa, lacking the feature of rounding. That's evident. That's for sure. Yes. Hello, Mr. Saeed Rafia. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to always have you here. Thank you very much. Okay, nice. So is it fine? Now let's consider this. Just imagine the professor gives you this to transcribe, to describe. Then what you have to see, you will know, of course, that in this chart, it's not here, it's not here, it's in the middle. So it's a central vowel. Okay, and it's not here and it's not here, so it's in the middle. It's a mid vowel. So this is it rounded? The does not need any rounding, so it's unrounded. So we say that this is a mid central and rounded vowel. Life is easy this time. Okay. Thank you. Professor Rim Siraji. Hello, dear colleague. She says, I hope you are doing well. All the best to you and to your students too. Thank you very much, Professor Siraji. These are all our students. In fact, they're not just mine. Because since you are a professor, you can still help, with the, with the discussion. And if you have an idea, you can join us and you can express it. And you are more than welcome, Professor Siraji. Thank you very much for always coming to this, to join our lives, and this makes it. If there is anything unique about these live sessions, it's the fact that I keep on repeating this, and I pride myself in that. That gathers not only undergraduate students but also master students, doctoral students, and professors. This is really interesting. Okay, thank you. So we are done with these descriptions. Suffice it to let you know that there is a tip here relating to the technique of being able to draw a vowel chart, and every time look at the, at one part and then try to locate the vowels there. I'm sure it's going to materialize, to make you aware of these, of these technicalities, rather than learning them by heart, because learning by the heart is going to, for example, a high front unrounded, high, da, da, da. That's I think it's not memorization may not make you, any better than not knowing that. Because sometimes, when you memorize, you will forget easily, especially when it comes to these words, because the terms, sometimes you have high here and high for the other vowel and front for this vowel, another front there. So maybe the best way is to, what you need to learn is the schema here, le schéma, the schema, and, the vowels there. And I'm sure things will go as planned, hopefully. I think we need to talk now about the difference between a monophthong and a diphthong, because this is just a revision, it's not teaching. Unless there are questions that I have to see here. Okay. So in English, some vowels are simple vowels. Okay. For example, we have a, and then we have a, and then we have a. Okay. These are simple vowels. Mifi says, we love you, Professor. Thank you, Mifi. I'm really glad you say that. Thank you so much. Okay, and that's reciprocal. Huh? It's not unrequited. Huh? It's reciprocal. Good. So here we have some vowels that are simple. Simple vowels like a, e, u, where you have just the one little thing. A. That's these are simple vowels. Okay, we refer to them as monophthongs. Monophthongs. In monophthongs, you have the prefix mono, which means one. Okay, so here they are referred to as monophthongs. A, e, u, and then you have this e, etc. The schwa, the wa. These are called monophthongs. 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 But in English, we also have diphthongs. What is a diphthong? A diphthong is a vowel inside which you have two vowels. For example, when I say home, I am going home. O. So O, the word in home, is transcribed as this. This one is O. We have hawa, but you also have this. We have a monophthong plus a monophthong in one, two in one. Okay, so this type of vowels are referred to. Okay, these type of vowels are referred to as diphthongs. In diphthongs, you have the prefix d, which means two. D, di, like ditransitive. Di, from there comes de in French. You see, dos in Spanish. Okay, so you have this. These are called diphthongs. This is a diphthong. We have ow. This is a diphthong. Oi. This is a diphthong. So whenever you have a combination of two vowels to form one single vowel, that single vowel is not simple. It's complex, and we refer to it as a diphthong. In English, we can also, on rare occasions, not on rare occasions, but we have this instance of a diphthong like our, for example, the hour. What is the vowel here? It's ow. That's a diphthong, ow. But because the R deletes in English, in British English, okay, you need to have this schwa vowel here. And even in American English, when the R is skipped, you still need to have this. So here we don't have two, we have three. And that's why we call it triphthongs. Triphthongs, you have tri, which comes from three, okay, which not comes from, which developed into three, trois, tres, etc. So you have triphthong, diphthong, monophthong. صافي سريع. I think life is good now. Okay. In English, we also have a difference between. I'm sorry, some of the viewers here might think that I'm going over these things very quickly. This is intended for the simple reason that this is a revision for a course that contains, apart from phonetics, phonology, morphology, and syntax. Okay, so let me do this way. In English, and like Moroccan Arabic, for example, in English we have vowels that are normal vowels like a. Let's take a, I, u. Monophthongs, diphthongs, and triphthongs. Thank you, Professor Straji. Miss Nathalie Leblanc says a monophthong is only one vowel, while a diphthong combines two vowels. Thank you very much. You said it in a very nice way. Thank you so much. Okay. Now, so you have these normal vowels that we have in Moroccan Arabic, a, I, u, for example, and in the Amazigh, like not in the Amazigh languages, but I exclude Terifit because in Terifit the story is a bit different. So let me just concentrate on these, on Moroccan Arabic. We have a, I, u, and some allophones for each vowel. We ignore that for the moment, but what is important is that in English, apart from these normal vowels, we can also have long vowels. For example, you have the word fill, the vowel is just an E, but you have another another word where the E is made a little bit long. So it's feel, and it gives you this. So normally this one and this one, even if they are written differently, they are pronounced in relatively the same way, except that the only difference between the two is that this one here is made a little bit long. So that here we're talking about, okay, about E, okay, something like this, and then you have E. Sorry, it's the opposite. So you have fill, and then you have feel, something like this, all right? So you, and U, of course, like pull. You have the word to pull, pull, to pull. This is an U, but you have to pull, or the pull here, it's an U with these two dots indicating length. It's an U. So whenever you feel there is vowel length, the transcription is generally indicated by two dots after the long vowel. Okay, I think that, so you have an example by Natalie here, as in sit versus seat. Thank you, that's a very good to the point example. Thank you so much. Sue Atkan says, good evening all, good evening. Thank you for joining us, Mr., Mrs., Miss, I don't know. Sue Atkan, you are welcome. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Rafi. The term front, I think you are talking about, a detail that, so there's this discussion between Mr. Rafi and Mr. Mustafa. I am afraid we cannot delve into the discussion for the moment because we have other things waiting for us to cover. So I think if there is no question from you, ladies and gentlemen, especially the ones that are concerned with the makeup exam, if you have a question, please, just type it here. Otherwise, we can skip this and move on to the other, to the other components that we have here. Okay, let me see the other point. Consonants, revision of phonemes, allophones. Okay, we'll come to that. Syllable structure. Okay. So maybe you talked about syllable structure. I am following specifically the program that was covered at the Polydisciplinary Faculty of Nador. So let me just say something about syllable. What is a syllable first? What is a syllable? A syllable is, thank you, Faiza, for confirming that it's clear. Thank you. Syllable structure. A syllable is a group of sounds. Sounds that form a family, that form a group, and we can just know that by means of our ear. It's like trying to sing. So it's by trying to sing the sound, the word. Whatever word you have in mind, you can just by ear divide it into the number of syllables that you can have. Give me any word. Let me take, for example, the word phone. Phone. I like the phone. Phone, it's one syllable. Let's say intelligent. He is very intelligent. So it's four. Intelligent has four syllables. Phone has one syllable. You can just look at me, consider your names, and you can detect how many. For example, my name is Nordin. Two. If there is anyone to sing about me, I would be very glad to hear the song. Nice. I'm just joking. But let's take Mustafa. How many syllables are there in Mustafa? Okay, this is Mr. Mustafa. 3. Natalie, also 3. Okay, Faiza, 2. شكون عندنا هنايا؟ سعيد رفيع. سعيد. If we pronounce it, of course, in its original, in Arabic, of course, Sa'id, not said. For example, okay, Aya has to write. Yes, Aya has to write. Okay, mifi. You can say this is a yeah. If I ask you to put aya in a sentence and try to sing it by every time you have a hinge, you tip on the table, you tap on the table, then of course you will produce two. Yes, aya has two. Okay. Now the symbol that we use, yeah, it's all about the rhythm. That's life. Okay. Yeah, mifi. Yes. Okay. Now the symbol that we use. Look at this. We use this symbol. It's like music, like a musical note. Yes. So here, this is the symbol that we use for a syllable. Okay. That comes. This is like a sigma. That's why, because syllable starts from with S, and in Latin it's sigma. Okay. So it's this. This is the. Uh, Hello, dear Atimed, Shirkub. Sorry, I couldn't make it on time. Whenever it's possible for you, you are welcome. I just need to ask you about Mrs. Samia Mustaghfir. I wonder whether she is doing well because she has not joined us. I think she did not join yesterday. And, there are some names that always come, and when they are absent, I just wonder whether I just hope that everything is fine. Okay, thank you, Atimed or Mrs. Atimed for joining us. So this is the symbol for syllable, and of course I wish her a quick recovery. I wish her a quick recovery. Really. Okay, nice. So this is the symbol for a syllable. And in a given syllable, let's just talk about a basic. Oh, well, Atimed also says that she is sick. I didn't know. I wish her a speedy recovery, inshallah. Okay. Thank you, Atimed, for informing me. And thank you, Si Mustafa, also for calling her and letting me know that she's sick. Okay. Podcast خطوة خير. Sorry for no. It's always so they say better late than never. The proverb goes as follows: better late than never. Better late than never. Más tarde que nunca. That's the Spanish way of saying that. Vaut mieux tard que jamais. Okay, nice. So let's take an example of a syllable. Let's take aya as an example. No, not aya, because aya is maybe in the second example. Let's take let's take an example like Jed, for example, a name called Jed, someone by the name of Jed. Jed, it's something like this. This is a J. Don't confuse it with Z. And then you have a, and then you have D. We have a consonant, we have a vowel, and then we have a consonant. Typically, a syllable, typically, I say typically, but there are some exceptions. We can talk about that. Then, yeah, okay, you're probably talking about the news reader. Okay, nice. So here you have consonant, vowel, consonant. Yes, a syllable typically consists of a first consonant, a vowel, and a second consonant, like jed, the word jed. And here we can represent it as follows. Okay, the j here is called, this first consonant in a syllable is generally called onset. This is an onset. Onset in English means the beginning. For example, at the onset, he is at the onset of his career, means he is at the beginning of his career. So can you have the onset? Okay, he is an onset. He is an onset. It is an onset. So this is an onset. Okay, yeah, it's the sound j, which is a voiced palatal fricative. All right. The vowel here, which is the a, it's technically, it's the core, it's the core, the central part. We call it a nucleus. Nucleus, like this. And I think I need more space here. This is the nucleus. The nucleus of a syllable The nucleus. The nucleus comes from nuclear, and it's a nawat. It's a nawat in Arabic. Le noyau. If you want to say nawat, it's the nucleus. If you want to say nawat in English, it's the nucleus, okay? So the vowel here is the nucleus. We write it like this, but we can write, just write the first one. So you have a, and then you have D here, which is, I'm talking here about the second consonant of jed. For example, the second consonant of a syllable, the one that comes after the vowel, it's referred to as the coda. Okay, we write it like this. The coda. Okay, so you have the. Okay. Now, can a syllable exist without a nucleus? Yes, it can. For example, in the word aya, for example, you have two syllables. The first one is a. Does it have a nucleus? No. I'm sorry. Does it have an onset? In aya, we have aya, we have two syllables. Now, for the first one, does it have an onset? The answer is no, because an onset is always a consonant. And then you have the vowel, which is there, it's a. And then do I have a second consonant for this part, for this syllable? Because this syllable is just a. Because the iya in aya is for the second syllable. You understand? So in the first syllable, we don't have an onset, we don't have a coda, we have only a nucleus. Let's go now to consider the second syllable, ya. For aya, you have a, we are done with it, and then ya. Ya, you have a y sound, which is half a consonant, but it can still be an onset. Do I have a nucleus? Yes, because I have a. Yeah, you have an a. Do I have a coda here? No, I don't. So, conclusion, a syllable can exist without an onset, like the first syllable of aya, a. A syllable can exist without a coda, like in the second syllable of aya, which is ya. We don't have t, for example, and I have a friend, a Facebook friend here, and a nice person by the name of Ayet. Okay, tahiyya liha if she is watching this live. Okay, nice. So we can have this, but one thing that is sure, that we are sure of, Aya, can you write it, please? Okay. I think Faiza is asking me to probably transcribe Aya and determine syllables. Let me do that, yes. Excuse the point here. Okay, now we have aya, something like this. How many syllables do I have here? 2. How do I know? Try to sing aya. Try to sing aya, and then you will. So this is yeah. It means that we have a syllable here, haya, hadi buhta, and then you have another syllable here. Now, can we represent this? So let's just represent this. Yeah, okay. So we have a syllable here. I don't have an onset. I don't have a coda. I have only a nucleus. So this is a syllable. Now, let me do this for ya. So I have a syllable. Okay. And then, do I have an onset? Yes, I have an onset, which is y. Do I have a nucleus? Yes, which is a. Do I have a coda? No, I don't. So life is easy. Okay. So this is grosso modo how we represent syllables. Onset, rhyme, yes, we refer to rhyme as well. Rhyme generally, that's one approach to the syllable, because syllable theory has undergone a lot of modifications, and this is the primitive version, this is the very early version. But again, I am trying to do it this way, because my audience are students at the level of S4 who are taking introduction to linguistics. Also, I have to produce things in the clearest and simplest manner possible. But there is also the notion of a mora, but we are not going to talk about that, for example. But of course, because that's going to be certainly confusing to our friends. Nice. So, Saeed Rafi says, Dear Professor, you have just made me realize something regarding the shape of the syllable diagram. It represents the sonority scale. Look at the shape from the onset going up the syllable. That's true. So here, sonority, sonority means what? Means that if you have a syllable where you have an onset, a nucleus, and a coda, the most sonorous, that is to say the loudest, is the one that you have here in the nucleus. So maybe you can have R here, and then you have A, and then you have T. Usually, generally, you have something like this, and it falls. It's rising and falling. But this one remains the most sonorous, that is to say, the loudest. Again, since we are talking to S4 students here, it's just for pedagogical reasons, because the aim is to help them understand the content so that they will have a makeup session. Thank you very much, Mr. Saeed, for these points, because you are enriching the discussion. You and our friends like Karim Boulain, for example, who talked about the rhyme, which is the nucleus and the coda. Well, we will not, because when you add one technical word, that's going to be a burden on these students. So it's better to keep it, Natalie has exacerbated the situation by referring to the peak. So we're not going to talk about that. Well, yeah, the tier, that's in auto-segmental phonology. We have the melodic tier, the foot, the morae. The tiers are the layers in the syllable. Again, that's somehow advanced, and we are not going to discuss these things lest we should confuse our friends here again. So I have concerns about our friends. We can do that. That will help me as well refresh my memory when it comes to the different models for the description of syllables. Thank you. So I think we have done enough here. Let me just move on because I'm following what Mr. Ali sent me. So it talks about first articulation. There is nothing like first articulation. Maybe it's called primary articulation rather than first articulation, but it's immaterial to refer to even primary articulations. Just the more common term is the notion of secondary articulation. Okay, fine, we are done with this secondary articulation. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know what secondary articulation is? We talked about that before. So secondary articulation very simply means that the sound, apart from the features that it displays, okay, the basic feature, like for example, the voiced bilabial stop, for example, in secondary articulation, we have this sound that acquires another feature, an extra feature. It's called a coloring. Okay, when you have, for example, the k sound that you pronounce as k, for example, and the kul, that's the tashlhit way of saying my friend or friend, and the kul, غادي ناكل, it's never غادي ناكل. We don't say it like that. مشى ياكل. No, it's مشى ياكل. ياكل. It's a k that is a voiceless velar stop, but at the same time you are rounding the lips. Okay, we are rounding the lips. So this simultaneous rounding of the lips, apart from the primary articulation, this is what we have as secondary articulation. And here, since we have our lips involved, we refer to that as labialization. Okay, it's a type of secondary articulation, and here we say that k mifi is right. We say that k is labialized or has undergone a labialization process. So generally, when you have a consonant, let's take, for example, k. How do we indicate secondary articulation? It's by writing the small letter depending on where secondary articulation takes place. If it takes place at the level of the lips, as is the case with dakul and radinakul, etc., we are talking about labialization. Labialization is indicated with a w, small w here. And w, why not t, for example? W because w, is the one that we pronounce with the lips around it. So this is labialization. Sometimes you have a sound like k, and this is most likely to be found in Russian. Okay, so k, and t, whatever voiceless stop, can be palatalized. It means what? It means that the sound, you see, undergoes some movement towards the palate, and therefore it undergoes this. It's like, yeah, it's like producing the sound l. You have the word like stoli in Russian, which means table. L. Let's do it with the l. L. Here it's a normal l, but we have a palatalization process there. So you write y because y is a palatal glide. That's why we use y here. Another example, very good example. Yes, Muffy in Queen, for example. Yes, but Queen, it's Queen, something like this. Yeah, Queen, because we know that there will be a w there. Therefore, we produce a secondarily articulated or a sound, with secondary articulation. Like, okay, thank you very much. And also with the word two. When you say two, 1, 2, 3, you don't say t and then wait for some time, take some coffee, and then ooh, no. So two, because your mind is anticipating a rounded element, so it starts the rounding very early at the level of t, two. The rounding takes place when you pronounce what you. That's another good example of labialization. We also have a word, the pharyngealization. I don't know if you know this. Pharyngealization. Pharyngealization. It happens here. This becomes wide, and therefore we say that the sound is pharyngalized. For example, you have the sound t. Taba. You have taba. Taba. If you want to say it has been cooked or it has become pleasant, taba masaukum. Taba. What's the difference between taba and taba? There is just one little difference. It's the fact that when you say taba with the ta there, شنو الفرق بين تا والطا؟ ما كاينش الفرق. Au niveau de l'articulation, il n'y a aucune différence. La différence, هنايا, when you say ta, you are saying t, but you are widening, you are making the tube that we have here, you are making it, okay, wide, it becomes a ta. Okay, so you have this. Natalie is talking about Mu'an, especially that the holy month Ramadan is drawing near. So I think it's very legitimate to produce an example like that, Natalie. Thank you very much. Okay, so here you have these things. Okay, tub, tob, yes, sa, sin, sada, wasada. You have other elements. Thank you very much. Okay, so this type of secondary articulation is referred to as pharyngealization in Arabic. That's tafkhim. Okay, nice. So we have talked very briefly about secondary articulation, and okay, Mustafa is sending you a message there, Natalie. She has a thesis to write, I guess. So she is unlikely to be involved in the kitchen. I mean, all right. So let's move on, please. So we talked about pharyngalization. I think you have it here. Palatalization, we talked about that. Labialization, nasalization as well. You know what nasalization is? Very simply, nasalization refers to the fact that a vowel, which is initially a non-nasal element, these are vowels, but sometimes when they occur before a nasal consonant, okay, they become nasalized. For example, when you want to conjugate the verb to see into the past participle, you will say seen. And when you say seen, the e there, you make the air move also through the nose, making this vowel somehow nasalized. Why? Because you are anticipating a nasal sound. Nasalization generally happens to vowels when they occur in the neighborhood of, near, let's say that, near near a nasal consonant. This is exactly what happened to French, but over history, the nasal consonant disappeared. It died, and we have the vowels, the nasalized vowels became a phoneme or became phonemes. That's why you have lien and bien. Okay, you have beau versus bon. Okay, these are the difference. One of them is nasalized and the other is not. Okay, or is not. Nice. So let's move on, please. We've talked about nasalization. See, Ali, you are here finally. You did not tell us that you are here. I was shouting your name, but okay. So nice, good that you have joined, Si Ali. Okay, nasalization, syllable structure, we did it. Now we talk about, move to the discussion of phonological processes. Okay, would you like me to شوف إذا كان شي حاجة that you think that I'm just repeating, you don't want me to talk about it, tell me tell me please don't talk about it. Okay, now what is a phonological process? Let's talk about phonological process. Yes, please. Okay, let's talk about phonological process. Don't forget the likes. Don't forget subscription. Don't forget sharing the links, because it's beginning to seem, I'm sorry for the expression, it's beginning to seem that I might consider probably not really, being encouraged. Look at how indirect I am, okay, to hold these live sessions. So please, you need to help me, survive, okay? survive. I don't know. From the point of view of social media, sustain this effort, because I have a lot of things to do, and I work sun up to sunset and over the night, of course, as you can see clearly. Okay, nice. Rhetorics along with examples. Could you please explain rhetorics along with examples? I can't understand your question, Mr. Abu Bakr. Would you kindly say it in another word? And provide example. Okay, thanks in advance. Okay, I need your question to be well phrased. Phonological process واش نهضروا عليهم ولا لا? Tell me. خاص نسيوري وخاص نسيور شا. This is a message to the people of the polydisciplinary faculty of Nador. Do you know what phonological processes are, or would you like us to talk about them, because we have other things to cover? بغيتوا نمشيو directement à la morphology, we can do that without any problems, because I have a feeling that I'm just talking to the people who already know these things, and this makes this live session somehow redundant. Okay, I prefer cover other things. Well, I think this is what we can do, in the absence of people who are interested. Many of the students showed interest on the page, but we end up having just 2 or 3 students who are really interested in this. This is not easy. It's not easy to talk for 2 hours about things that will reach only 2 or 3 people, honestly. Okay, move on with what? With phonological processes or with morphology? Okay, let me see at least 2 or 3 comments talking about. Thank you, Mifi. Thank you. So tell me what you would like. شوف واش نهضروا على phonological processes or move to morphology. I need these things typed here. Morphology, very good. Mifi, morphology, nice. Good. This is nice. This is nice. Okay. I need one more and then morphology. Okay. Terallah. Morphology. Let's talk about morphology. Word grammar. Yeah, that's word grammar. Grammar of words is called morphology. All right. Umayma Muak. All right. Can I ask you a question, please, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know the longest word in English? Uh, Abu Bakr, Buhaddu, this is a very interesting point. This is a very interesting request. Thank you very much for reminding me of that. It's coming up. It's coming up in the next lives. I am sure I will do that, and I can bring random paragraphs to expose to you, and I will have to solve the problem of screen sharing. If that problem is solved, then life will be a lot better. So no worries. I will certainly come back to these points. It's just that the students, these are ad hoc requests from students who are about to sit for the makeup. Yes, and I don't remember it, but it's a long yes. Yes, the lines distribution, something like that. Yes, it starts with. Okay, so we have two, one written by Nathalie Leblanc and another one which is less technical because that's from the domain of medicine. But the one that is non-technical is anti-disestablishmentarianisms, with a plural, of course. So if you have that word that can take, a number of centimeters to write, okay, it means that what? It means what? It means that there are words that are formed by combining elements from other words. That's the message I want to deliver. Now, just imagine I have a word shorter than that, a word like okay, um, impossible. Let's say okay, impossible. Impossible consists of anti-constitutionalization and smile. There is a mile in a smile. Okay, okay, smile. There is a mile in a smile. That's a language play, perhaps, or yeah, it's playing with the words. Thank you, Professor Saraji, for that. Yes, never mind. Okay, so let's just consider the word impossible. If can we break this word? It's a pun. That's true. Can we break this word impossible, into parts? Can we? Of course, we have im and then possible. Can we break possible into individual parts? We don't have pos and then able. We cannot have it. Therefore, this is the unbreakable part. Im is an unbreakable part. Let's say unintentionally. Look, unintentionally. Unintentionally. How many elements do we have in unintentionally? Okay, how many words that we have in unintentionally? So we have this for the opposite. Yeah. We have intention. And then we have intend. Normally, we also have intent here, intention. And then intentional here. And then the adverb. I repeat. So we have intention. And then we have intentional to derive the adjective. And then to derive the adverb, we add the li. And of course, the opposite here is with an. Okay. When you take a word, ladies and gentlemen, and you break it into parts, as we did here, these parts that are unbreakable are simply referred to as morphemes. What is a morpheme? A morpheme is the minimal unit that makes some meaning, that makes meaning. Okay? Minimal means you cannot break it further. That's the minimal. That's minimal unit, means the smallest unit. Okay? So here, impossible, how many units are there? M, and then you have possible. Here you have N, and then you have intention, from intend, of course. And then you have intentional and intentionally. Good. Now, morphemes, these are called morphemes. 1, 2, 3, 4 morphemes here, 2 morphemes here. Cats. How many morphemes are there? You have cats and cats. Can you break the cat into further units? No. So we have here 2 morphemes. We have 2 morphemes here. 1, 2, 3, 4 morphemes. Or 5 because we have intention. So these are referred to as morphemes. Now, we move on to the discussion of the different types of morphemes that we have. Okay. Yeah, we will come to that, Mr. Mustafa. So we are talking now about morphemes. Now, if I say, for example, I don't know, cup, cups, how many morphemes do I have here? 2. Decide, decided, how many morphemes do I have here? Of course, 2, because I have decide. Can I break decide into further morphemes? No. So decide here is the minimum, is the minimal unit, okay? So decide is a morpheme, id is a morpheme, cup is a morpheme, s is a morpheme, okay? Etc. Unhappy, so you have happy, happy as a word, as a morpheme, and is another morpheme. Happy, can we break happy further than this? No, because you don't have a word like hap from which we derive, the word happy. So these are called morphemes. So what is a morpheme? A morpheme is the minimal unit that makes meaning. Minimal unit شنو هي? It's when you cannot break a morpheme, that unit, into further units. When you can break it into further units, it's not a morpheme. It's a cluster of morphemes. It's something else, okay? Nice. Now, let's move on to the broad distinction between 2 types of morphemes, for example. All right? So you have, let's take the word impossible. Let's take the word impossible, impossible, and let's take the word decided. So impossible, you have this and this, 2 morphemes. Decided, you have decide like this, and then you have this. Fine. 2 morphemes here, 2 morphemes here. Nice. Now, when you look at these examples, the question is, which morpheme can stand alone and which morpheme needs another morpheme to attach to? In the first example of impossible, we know that the word possible can exist without im. But we don't have a word like im that can exist without being attached to another adjective. Okay? In the same vein, we have decided. We can have the word decide without any problem. We can find the word decide somewhere in a text, but we can never find id, just id like that in a text, which means that this needs something to attach to, this needs something to attach to. Okay? So we refer to the morphemes, we refer to the morphemes that stand alone, that are independent. We refer to them as free morphemes. So here, where is the free morpheme here? It's impossible. Where is the free morpheme here? It is decide. Why do we call it free? Because it's free. It doesn't have anything that attaches to it. It's free. This one is not free. It's bound. Means there is another morpheme that holds it, that controls it. It's bound. It's not free. So here we have as we are talking about the difference now between bound morphemes and free morphemes. Okay, a morpheme can be bound and it can be three. Unethical, you have an, and then you have ethic, and then you have the adjective uh, Allah. So here, ethic, because we can have ethics. So the free morpheme would be ethic, despite the fact that it needs an S. Allah, of course, you cannot have a word like Allah, just like that in a text. You cannot have a word like an, which stands on its own. So here, an and Allah are bound morphemes, and ethic, specifically the shape, when it is in the shape of ethics, then that's the free morpheme. And successfully, you have a number of free morphemes, a number of bound morphemes here. An is a bound morpheme. شوف, just to make life easy for our dear students here, باش نفهموا الفرق بين free morpheme والbound morpheme. كناخذوا ان مورفيم كنشوفوا واش ممكن نلقاه في ان تكست بوحدو هكا مسكين غير بوحدو avec with a cup of coffee just you see. هذاك الا لقيناه بهذه الطريقه هذه لقيناه بوحدو في التكست راه فري مورفيم. بالحق الا كان ليكزيستونس ديالو depending or dependent on another word خصو يلصق فيه راه ماشي فري هذاك it's bound morpheme. I hope you understand this clearly. Okay, so these are the distinctions between free morphemes and bound morphemes. Good. Now another distinction between morphemes has to do with the difference between an inflectional morpheme and a derivational morpheme. An inflectional morpheme, sorry. Inflectional. What is inflectional in French? Very simply, ما كيسميوش inflectional, كيسميوه flexionnel. Okay, un morphème flexionnel. Okay, inflectional morpheme. Okay, anyway, inflectional morpheme versus derivational. Inflectional morpheme versus derivational morpheme. What is the difference between inflectional morpheme and derivational morpheme? Inflectional morpheme, ladies and gentlemen, is a morpheme that gives us grammatical information. An inflectional morpheme, when you add it to the free morpheme, for example, it does not change the category. It does not make, for example, a noun, an adjective, or a verb, a noun, etc. Okay, that's the inflectional morpheme. Now, the derivational morpheme. Okay, let me give you an example of an inflectional morpheme. Okay, so when you say you have the plural like tables, yeah, then you have wanted, and you have reading. Tables, you have the S here. Wanted, you have the ed here, and reading, you have the ing here. Adding these, morphemes to, we'll call them roots, we'll talk about that later, to other morphemes, does not result in the changing of a grammar category. For example, you can never add an S to make this a noun, to make this noun a verb, for example. No, you just give further grammatical information about a situation where you have more prototypes of this. That's it. Wanted, again, it just adds further information about this word here. It talks to us about the time when the word happens, when the verb happens. The action, of course, expressed by the verb happens here. Reading is indicating the progressive, which means that that inflectional morphemes are there to give us, what? Grammatical information only. Does it add to the meaning? No, it does not. It gives us just grammatical information and it does not derive a word from another word. It's like quickly here. No, the function of quickly here is to convert an adjective into an adverb. Okay, so here we're not talking about inflection morpheme. Remember this, please. An inflection morpheme has only grammatical information talking to us about number, gender, tense, etc. A derivational morpheme contributes to the meaning sometimes, and it changes the category and can change the meaning and the category of the word. That's derivational morpheme. Derivation, now let's mean a derivation because we derive something from something else. Li with adverbs is a derivation morpheme because we use it to derive an adverb from an adjective. The prefix to express the contrary, for example, happy, unhappy, and here is a derivation morpheme because we are deriving the opposite. Okay, here what are we deriving? We are not deriving anything. We are just adding grammatical information. All in all, the difference between derivational morphemes and inflectional morphemes resides in the fact that an inflectional morpheme does not contribute to the meaning. It contributes rather to grammatical information. It provides us with grammatical information only. It does not change the category because that's the job of a derivational morpheme. Well, a derivational morpheme, as the term implies, it's the morpheme that we use as a tool for derivation, to derive. We derive what? Either we derive meaning from another word, or we derive a category from another category. In fact, there are, for example, the exercises in reading comprehension classes. They are called word derivation. And usually the professor asks you questions like, what is the adjective that comes from this noun? Or he can give you sentences. For example, he answered the questions so, and then you have intelligent, intelligently, because you have the answer. So this is the spirit of this derivational morphology. Okay, derivational morpheme. Mifi asks the question, how do we do interplanetary? Interplanetary professor is, I know that professor, she is addressing me, but I thought at the beginning that she's talking about some interplanetary professor. Okay, it was just a joke. It's just an ambiguity. Normally, what you need there is a little comma so that the message will be clear. But I understood you, Mifi, never mind. Okay. Okay, let's do that together. Interplanetary. Interplanetary. So, so we have the word here and inter. And then you have the word planet. And then you have the word airy. So we have planet. Can I break planet into two? I cannot have plan and then et. No. So planet is one thing. Don't tell me that you can still do it because you have planned the verb to plan. That's something different. No, we're talking about something else here. Okay, so we have plan and inter. ما تقوليش مثلا هذا it's in and ter. No. So it's inter, it's one thing, which means it's a prefix meaning between. Okay. And then airy is a derivational morpheme to derive an adjective from planet. This is also a derivational morpheme, okay? So we have inter, and then planet, and then interplanetary. All right? So please understand this this way. Mifi, I hope I have answered your question without problems. Very nice. Some grammarians call word derivation. Oh, Mr. Bouhadou has retracted the message. Scarcely had he posted it. Maybe it's in the editing phase, in the editing process. It's under editing. We will see. We will see. أخ عليك السي بوحدو. Thank you, thank you. Anyway, I'm just joking. This is. I believe that English doesn't have the suffix net. No, no, no. I don't. No, no, it doesn't have. It doesn't seem to have the suffix net. No, no. Oh, there is no. No. What would it mean? Okay. A nice word formation is equivalent to word derivation. Word formation, they are somehow they are a little bit different. We will come to word formation in a moment. If so, we have just 18 now. We have 19 students here, viewers. Too few compared to what I was expecting. But anyway, it looks like so we will do this because there are this is quite logical because there are probably fewer students who are concerned with this. And this is the viewers are mostly, I think, my friends and my colleagues here. The others, I don't know why they have not joined. Okay, probably because they think that that is not important. Anyway, that's the reason we can't break down. That's true. That's true, Mr. Said Rafia. That's the exact idea I expressed a while ago. Now let's move on very quickly to the discussion of word formation processes. Word formation processes. Okay, let's talk about some of them. What is a word formation process? It just asks the question as to how words can become part of the dictionary of a given language. Okay? So this is the idea. We have a list of word formation processes, that we are going to mention here. Let's start with the first one, and then we go down to to the others. The first, you can write the first one. Is it? Let's. Can we talk about, for example, coinage? Let's talk about coinage. No, no, I know, Mr. Bubakar, and you wrote the correct form. I was just joking. Okay. Mr. Bouhaddou, are you from the polydisciplinary faculty of Nador or you study somewhere else? Okay, so let's talk about this. So we have coinage. The first word formation process is coinage. When a word, when a language, people are calling me, let me say, tell them, okay, I am in the live session. Anyway, so one way languages can have new words, but the question is, why should we have new words in languages in the first place? Why should we have new words? Answer: we should have new words because we have new needs, because the world is developing, because, for example, there are technological inventions and we need a name for that. The need to create new words has been a salient feature of human language since it started, being, a means of communication. Every now and then there are words that require new words. There are new gaps for new words in languages. Some words, as Natalie says, undergo a change and they become lost. And there is a search for a new word, etc. But okay, that's the idea. So let's just talk about the first word formation process, which is referred to as coinage. Coinage comes from the verb to coin. What is to coin? To coin a word means to invent it. It's to create it. How do we create it? Different people use different strategies for coining words. What is essential is that you create a word. Do you know that before the invention of the tissue paper, the Kleenex, for example, people used to have a cloth, and it used to be referred to as a handkerchief. Okay, Over time, people realized that thanks to technology, that type of paper was invented, that tissue paper was invented. And of course, they cannot call it a handkerchief anymore because a handkerchief implies that it's made of cloth. Okay. Consequently, people sought to, invent a word to refer to this new tissue, and they called it Kleenex because there is this word clean. C'est un rappel. It reminds you of the word to clean, etc. Kleenex. Okay, so Kleenex here is a word. Okay, that was created to meet the language needs of speakers, because there is an invention. We have to give it you see, to give it a name, to give it a word. So this is coinage. Another famous word that was invented is the word Xerox, which is written as Xerox. To Xerox means to make photocopy. Natalie has written this at the same at the same time. Thank you, Natalie. Xerox, because before making photocopies, to Xerox means to photocopy. Before, photocopies were not common, and thanks to the advent of technology, people started to, to make copies for individual texts. And the word that was invented to meet this need, to express this action, is to invent the word Xerox. Did it exist before? No, it did not. So this is what we refer to as coinage. The words that come from the process of coinage are referred to as neologisms. Neologisms. Neo means new. Logisms. Neology, the process of neology. Okay, so we talked about coinage. Let's go to number 2. Okay, okay. Let's go to number 2, please. I think I have a message here. Never mind. Okay. So let's move on to the second one, which is, acronym or acronyms. What is an acronym, ladies and gentlemen? Sometimes languages choose to create a word by taking the first letters of individual longer words. And this is a bit different from abbreviation. Okay, it's not really abbreviation. Natalie, the idea is that in an acronym, you have a word like EFL. EFL means English as a foreign language. So you have a longer, it can be a sentence, it can be, okay? So you have these things, Natalie says NASA, and Mustafa, is talking about MLA, APA, IPA. Thank you. We have ASAP. You have all these things. They are generally written in capitals, like the DNA, the UNICEF, UNESCO, PSG, and so on and so forth. You have all these things. You know now what an acronym is. Now, this is somehow different from abbreviation. What is an abbreviation? An abbreviation is generally the fact of writing just the first parts of a word, okay? Or just taking one word, it's just one word, and you mention, for example, you don't write all of it, or you take some of the letters. Okay, for example, abbreviation, if you have abbrev, and then you put a stop. You have not finished. So that's an abbreviation. An abbreviation, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, what is the abbreviation? In French, for example, pour dire un example in French. Oh my God. So let me take this one here until after I am done, and then I will rush to that. So you have example. In French, it's something like this. example, just something like this. Okay, E and X in French. I think it's also with a B, you know. But anyway, in English, it's like this. Okay, it initially was an acronym. Now it's just an abbreviation for example. Anyway, so yeah, e.g. and then etc. Etc. is a very good example of an abbreviation. That's true. But the difference is that an abbreviation, it's just a style of writing. It's not a word formation process. Word formation processes, the word formation process is rather the acronym because it becomes a permanent, okay, part of a dictionary. All right. So words that is to say like I.e., etc. Okay, but in the dictionary, if you find, for example, something like IE, it will tell you that it's just an abbreviation. And okay, but usually over time, you see, like the EU, for example, for the European Union, as Mr. Bouhadou says, and as the other friends have said, these behave as though they were individual words. Okay, so this is what we refer to as an acronym. Then comes the most famous word formation process. That's number 3, which is affixation. Excuse me, my friends, when الناس ديال سلوان means الناس ديال polydisciplinary faculty of Nador who requested, this live session. When is this exam taking place, please? I need an answer here. Please tell me. Just to see if I can schedule another session. On the 25th, مازال الوقت مازال. Oh, we can still have other live sessions. Faiza says 17th. On the 17th. Oh, Faiza, the 17th. شكون آخر؟ Mifi says the 25th. Where do you study, Mifi? Tell us, please. Mifi, answer, please. Okay, never mind. So this means that there will be room for other things, which we do not finish it today. I think I have. I've started to have a little headache. But anyway, we will finish this and then we move on. Okay, affixation, the process of affixation. What is affixation? Very simply, in order to create new words, some languages resort to the addition of some morphemes, okay, to create other words. On the 24th, Mifi, can we know where you study? The faculty would, yeah, we know the faculty, but which faculty, please? Tell us. Can you tell us, please, Mifi? Okay, so we have in affixation. You are in Silwan, but attends. Mifi, that's not Silwan, because in Silwan, they say, they will start. Okay, Faiza says they will start. So maybe Mifi is referring to the date, to the day on which the exam will take place, the day of introduction to linguistics. So we have enough room, we have enough space to these revisions. Hello, Asma Nargis. How are you? Thank you for the usual clapping. She comes to clap the hands at this time, every time. Thank you very much, Nargis. Thank you so much. Okay, now, affixation simply means that we produce words by adding affixes. What is an affix? An affix is not specified. An affix is just a little thing that we add, a morpheme that we add is an affix. Now, if this morpheme occurs before the root, by the way, we have not talked about the root like this, la racine, okay? La racine, الجذر. So when I have cats, this is the root. When I have intelligently, so we have intelligent, and then we have li. Intelligent is the root. So you know these things, okay? Nice. Let's just okay. All right. So let me. So we call this the root and the affixes. A word like internationally. So you have inter, you have national, and you have li. So this word here consists of a root. شنو هو الروot? A root is a bound morpheme that we cannot break into further morphemes. كنسميوه الروت هو الجذر. Okay, and the others are affixes. So a word like internationally consists of a root and affixes. Okay, so oh yes, that's for sure. Well, let's talk about that, of course. An affix can take the form of a prefix. Prefix means that you add what? You add something here, and then you have a root. You add something here. For example, you have the word happy, and you say unhappy. So un here is a prefix because it's pre. Pre means before. Okay. You also have a suffix. It's the opposite. Like you have a root, and then you have the suffix intelligent, li, and happy. You know now the difference between a prefix and a suffix. Both of them are affixes. Okay, nice. Apart from this, we may also talk about an infix. An infix. Let me write the word infix here. An infix. Infix means you break the root, okay, to insert this element here. So you have root, part 1, and then you have this, and then the root continues here, part 2. For example, enjoy is an affix. No. لا سيبوا وحده. لا. In enjoyment, you have enjoy is the root, ماشي affix. Okay. Meant here is an affix. What type of affix is it? It's a suffix. Suffix. We call it the stem or the root or the base form. So we will talk about these distinctions in a moment. Like Moroccan Arabic, yes, we have the problem. We have this phenomenon of infixation, like كتيب, for example. كتيب اللي هو التصغير ديال الكتاب. كتيب, you have a kit, and then you add the y, and then you have b. Okay, so it's called an infix. It's rare, maybe it's relatively rare in languages, but also you have. So we talk about this infix here, and we can have a circumfix. Circumfix. Let me write it here. Circumfix. Yeah, that's an infix. كتيب is an infix. You can also have a circumfix. What is the circumfix? A circumfix, also known as, in English, it's very rare to find an infix. Okay, there is sometimes a word where another word, I cannot say that in my life because I consider it a vulgar word, that is inserted in the middle of a word. For example, unbelievable, you have un, and then there is this bad word being inserted there, and then believable. That can be considered as an infix, but it's not a tradition. It's not, it's not usual in the English language. There are languages like Moroccan Arabic, for example, that resort to this infixation, like the diminutive morpheme. Diminutive هو التصغير, هذاك لو مورفيم اللي كنستعملوا للتصغير حتى في العرب كلاسيك باغ اكزومبل العرب ستاندار كتاب كتيب with all the but it's more evident in Moroccan Arabic. مثلا you know I don't know نضادرسي نضيدرات okay, you have طبلات طويلة, you have all these things. So this is a good case of infixation, my friend, okay? Now, circumfixation is something different. Circum means around. Circum بحال اللي كنقولوا it's surrounded by. Circum بحال circle, there is a circle formed, okay? So it's in circumfixation. Yeah, سويقة, yes, فايزة, السوق, سويقة, that's true. It's a very good example, surely, for the an infix. A circumfix is different. What do we have in a circumfix? In a circumfix, you have the root, and you have part of the prefix before, and the other part after, okay? A typical language that uses circumfixation is Amazigh. في الأمازيغية, if you want to, for uncomfortable, for uncomfortable, we cannot talk about circumfixation. علاش? Because circumfixation, it means what? It means the same morpheme is divided into two. Part of it goes here, and the other part goes there. Okay? In the example, that you have given uncomfortable, un and able are two different morphemes. Now, in uncomfortable, we can say we have a prefix and we have a suffix. A circumfix is totally different from this. A circumfix means what you do before. What am I saying? Is what the prefix and the suffix are the same. في الأمازيغية, par exemple, في الريفية, since you are doing, you're working on in Syllable, what I can provide, this is the same for all Amazigh languages. Okay? When you have a word like amghrabi pour dire marocain, so if you say nishta amghrabi, I'm Moroccan, amghrabi is the masculine. What is the feminine? It's to add t before and t after tamghrabit, which is realized as thamghrabisht. You say amknasi, somebody who lives in Meknes is amknasi. And tef هي tamknasish t and t. Okay? That's the same thing in Tashlahit as well. And Tashlahit itself is a good example. Okay? In Tashlahit, you have, for example, I don't know, afrukh, okay, which means a boy. In Tarifit, there is another meaning for afrukh. It's the afrukh, the little of a bee. Okay, ديال النحل كيسموه afrukh. But in Tashlahit, afrukh is the kid or the boy. The feminine is tafrukht. So you take afrukh and you put t before and t after. هذه circumfixation. لاحظوا معايا circumfixation ماشي بحال l'example اللي عطات لينا ميفي ديال unhappiness. In the example of Mifi, she says, "Oh, okay, very good. Okay." In the example of Mifi, we have what? We have an and nes. So here, an, which is unhappy, it's a prefix, and nes is another suffix, but they are not the same morphemes. بالحق, in deriving the feminine, t is part of the feminine morpheme, and the other t is part of the feminine. We also refer to it. You are right, that's true. Okay, this is also called a discontinuous morpheme, discontinuous morphology or discontinuous morpheme. Okay, so this is what we refer to as a circumfix. There is another type of affix. Affix is the mother. We have different types of affixes. غير باش ما يسحب لكمش بلي affix بوحدو و suffix بوحدو. No. The affix is when you add something to the root, it's an affix, An affix can be a prefix. A prefix is an affix. Because it's an affix that comes before, that's what we call it a prefix. If it comes after, we call it a suffix. If an affix comes in the middle, we call it an infix. بحال صغير في اللغة العربية. When part of it or 50% of it comes before and the other 50% comes after, we are talking about a circumfix. Some languages, like Chinese, for example, are using tone, the tone, to indicate, maybe to derive a word from them. This is called a superfix. Maybe that's prosodic, that's suprasegmental. Less evident and less likely to be given in an exam, I'm sorry. And then we move on to the other word formation process, which is known as clipping. 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 Oops. To clip. Clipping. Clipping means cutting. That's why you have a video clip. It means that something that is edited, that is cut. Usually in a song, a video clip is when you have a song and you have some scenes that have been edited carefully. Of course, that's clipping. What is clipping here? Clipping means that some words exist in languages by having a longer word being cut into two parts, into two halves. So you just include half of the word. A word like professor, okay, the prof mentioned that, etc. And you also have the famous example, the microphone. It's just the phone. Mathematics, very good, Natalie, thank you. Mathematics is just maths. Okay, the lab, the laboratory, thank you, Sisaid. You're producing very, interesting examples here. So these examples of initially longer words that have been clipped, clipping and abbreviation are different. In clipping, the word becomes a normal word in its writing. The lab, you write it like that. Maths, you write it like that. But in an abbreviation, you have to mark it by inserting a dot there. Like when you say abbrev dot. Okay? Nice. Even, the prof X, normally it's Professor X, that's more of an abbreviation. But laboratory, lab, Sue for Susan, thank you, Miffy, yes. Maths for mathematics, these are all good examples of clipping, okay? Of clipping. I don't know. شوف, even when you talk in ordinary language, I'm talking to the students of the English department here. For example, كيقول شحال جبتي في السوسيو. Or, le terme, c'est la sociolinguistique or sociolinguistics. Psycholinguistics. Okay? So, yeah. McDonald's for McDonald's, etc. So we have these things, these are very well-known, examples of clipping. Clip means عقلوا عليها غير هكاك. To clip فكروا غير في الفيديو clip. Okay? Means that you have a word that you have clipped, that you have cut together. Congratulations, congrats as well. Thank you. Now let's move on. The headache is aggravating, and I will stop soon. I'm sorry. So let's move on to the other one, which is the compounded. We have a lot of words. We have a lot of. What is compounding? Compounding means that you have a word that consists actually of two words that come together. Timetable, for example, is a word where you have. No, blending is different. Blending is different. Miffy, je vais with la comparaison video clip. But that's one way of remembering. Sure. When you learn, you do everything that can make you remember. Okay? Nice. تشلحيت. Abu Bakr, yeah. I don't know why you write تشلحيت there, There are also portmanteaus. I'm not. What is this portmanteau here? I'm afraid I cannot react to this. I just provided another type, which is blending. Yeah, that's another one. Blending. The living room, the sitting room, etc. You have a timetable as a good example. If you have other examples, you can just provide us with them so that our friends here will Ah, le portmanteau. Ah, okay, that's in French, I guess, but I don't know if the term exists in English. There is also portmanteau. There is some portmanteau grammar or something like that. Anyway, the toothbrush. وجيبهم لي تاني toothbrush. Brush with a U, and it's one word. Sure. Compounding, generally in compounding, the two words come together. Okay, come together. All right, made by blending the last of two words. Combines both sounds and means. Okay, we'll see. Nice. Okay. Yeah, but is that a French example or is it a French? I don't think, I don't know, or not. I don't think, I don't know whether we can have the same in English. How about truncation? Is it the same as clip-in? See, Saeed, truncation is at the theoretical level. It's not at the level of a word formation process. It's a it's a morphological phenomenon that, whereby a morpheme gets deleted altogether. That's different. Okay, here we are talking about just different ways a language can produce words. Okay, nice. Hairstyle is a very good word. Swimming pool is another excellent word. High school and so forth. So you are aware of these things. Thank you for helping me with those examples. Now we go to blending, and let this be the last perhaps word formation process that we need to cover. We can cover. So it's called blending. Blending. Truncation studied in optimality theory. Yeah, but it's not an outgrowth of optimality theory, Mustafa. Despite the fact that people account for it, yes, in optimality theory. But truncation is a phenomenon. All right, nice. So let's talk about blending here. Blending means what? It means you have one word and you have another word. Sure. If we take them, you don't do anything to them. You take this and you take this and you put them together to produce a word. هذيك هي compounding. But if you operate عملية جراحية, you do a surgical operation. For example, you cut the first and you cut the second and then you blend them. That's blending. Okay. Good. I hope you understand this one here. So you have in edutainment. Let me mention these words. Let's start with Natalie's example, which is brunch. Brunch is usually a meal that is taken at around 11 o'clock or 10, 11. If breakfast has been taken maybe at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Okay. In our case, it's not. It's at 12 o'clock. It's still breakfast because we sleep a lot. Okay, nice. So we have brunch here. Brunch, it comes from breakfast and lunch. We take the part of breakfast. We take it. We first goes, and then lunch. We take lunch part. It goes. So we are left with br and unch, and we mingle them to produce brunch. Okay, thank you. Okay, motel, it comes from motor referring to cars, the motorway, motor, and then hotel, tak, motel. A motel or motel is usually found on the highway. For example, if in Spain, every a few kilometers you have a motel where you can spend the night, for example. And this exists not just in Spain. I just happen to, but you can find them in different places, of course. Nice. You have edutainment, where you have education and entertainment. That's edutainment. And you have infotainment also. Infotainment is an option. It's maybe a property of some recent cars. They call it infotainment, where you have a board, where you have YouTube, you have Android, you have other, applications. Okay, nice. ترجم بالدارجة عفاك. NG prof. ياك NG prof, you are a prof صاحبي وكتقول لي نترجم بالدارجة. نترجموك اخويا بالدارجة. شنو بغيتي نترجمو بالدارجة نترجمو ماشي مشكل. Okay, please, if you would like to, إلا بغيتي عافاك نشرح لك شي حاجة بالدارجة مرحبا نشرحو لك أخويا, il y a aucun problème. يقول لي شنو بغيتي، واش زعما ما تبعش معنا هادشي كلشي، ولا غير شي حاجه اللي بغيتي تفهم بالدارجه، مرحبا. So hostel, سي علي, I am afraid. Where does hostel derive from? Is it I really don't know, because the word hotel itself comes from hostel. You see, شوف كاع هذوك الكلمات اللي كنلقاو بالفرنسيه عندهم داك لو شابو على لي فويال، راه اون سو جاسونس راه كاين ان اس، نورمالمون هيستوريكمون كاين ان اس. لا مرحبا مرحبا ان جي بروف، غير قول لي الله يجازيك بخير شنو باغي بالضبط، انا غنشرح لخويا، ما عندي حتى شي مشكل. حنا جينا هنا غير باش نشاركوا الافكار ونتناقشوا، ما عندنا حتى شي مشكل. اوكي ان جي بروف مرحبا، قول لي غير اللي بغيتي نشرح. واش ما عرف واش انت طالب في هذا في الاجازه، واش كدير لونجلي ما كديرش، باش نشوف شنو غادي نهضر. اوكي جود. دكتور فور دكتور هذاك غتكون abbreviation سي ابو بكر، especially that there is a dot. الابريفيشن معروفه بالدوت، الا كاين دوت هذاك راه سي abbreviation. اوكي PhD I guess not doctor and PhD. PhD is also in an abbreviation, as long as said, you know, اللي كتحكي في هذا الابريفيشن غير باش تعقلوا عليها. life is easy don't complicate it. هذيك الدوت كتعني الابريفيشن. Okay, never mind. Situation comedy, it's a clipping process. House, hotel, hostel. Does it come from house, hotel? I don't know, Siali, but if you have okay, wacha. See Ali, well, if you have checked, and that's fine. You can include that as an example. Nice. واخا نفتح واحد القوس نجاوب ان جي بروف، حيت سولني هذا السؤال علاش بعض المرات زوج ديال الاو كتنطق الأ. شوف، فيما يتعلق بما يسمى بالصوائط اللي هما لي فويال ا او اي اتسترا الى اخره، هاد النوع، هاد الحروف هذه راه الا تكتبات اليوم بطريقه معينه، راه غادي تدور واحد 10 سنين ولا 20 عام حتى غادي يوليو الناس ينطقوها بطريقه توتالمون ديفيرون، طريقه اخرى. مثلا ناخذ بلاد اللي هي راه في الاول بلاد كتقرا بلود هكذا، ولكن بقات في ليكري لان الكتابه ما كتمحاش، الكتابه وكتبقى محفوظه، كيبقاو الناس يكتبوا الكتابه، ما كتبدلش. بالحق النطق ديال الناس لهذه الكتابه كيتبدل يعني عبر التاريخ، هذا الشيء معروف في اللغات ديال العالم كامل. هناك عوامل كتخلي النطق يتبدل، العوامل ديال الاختلاط مع ربما لغات اخرى، كاين لو كونتاكت لينغويستيك، اللغات مثلا كتلاقاو جوج لغات بوتيت غادي كتاثر على هذه، وكاين ربما التاثير ديال الناس كتهاجر من منطقه لمنطقه، الا كان غير جبل بيناتهم راه غادي ينطقوا كلمه واحده ينطقوها دو فاسون ديفيرونت، بطريقه اللي هي ديفيرونت. دونك هنا بالنسبه لا برونونسياسيون كاين واحد العلم سميتو هيستوريكال لينغويستكس او علم اللسانيات التاريخي، هو اللي كيقول لنا كيفاش كانت هذه الكلمه وكيفاش تطورات، وهو عادي بالنسبه للغات باش يعطينا مثلا الفرق بين المنطوق والمكتوب. مثلا نعطيك مثال ديال اللغه الفرنسيه، اللي ربما اللغه الفرنسيه راه خضعت بزاف ديال لي شونجمون ولا ديال التغيرات. مثلا كومون اون اكري سي اش، سي اش راه كانت ك في الاول، مثلا شونتي راه كانت كونتي، من بعد ولات تشونتي، بعد ولات شونتي، ومازال كنكتبوها افيك ان سي اش. علاش كانت كونتي من بعد ولات كونتي؟ هذاك الشيء علاش عندي داك لو اش تما. دونك لا كونكلوزيون عادي باش اللغات سواء الصوائط ولا الصوامت، لي فويال ولا لي كونسون، عادي غادي يتبدلوا، وداك الفرق بين المكتوب والمنطوق هو فرق عادي جدا وكاين في اللغات كاملين. دونك علاش حتى واحد ما يقدر يقول لك زعما راه غايل علاش بون هنا التداول هو اللي غادي يحكم، هو اللي غادي يقول لنا علاش مثلا هاد لا فويال كتنطق هكا وكتكتب هكا وهذيك كتنطق هكا وكتكتب هكا. دونك الا كنتي متعلم ديال اللغه الانجليزيه، ما عرفتش انا واش انت كدارس للفونولوجيا ديال الانجلي ولا ولا متعلم للغه الانجليزيه، وهذا زعما مزيان من كتسول مزيان، ولكن اعلم ان في كل اللغات راه كاين هذا النوع ديال الصعوبات. بين الصعوبات اللي كاينين في اللغات هو ان ما كاينش واحد الاتفاق ربما بين ما هو منطوق وما هو مكتوب. فول ستوب. اوكي. الجهاز مفاهيمي عند تشومسكي. لا تسمح لي على الازعاج. غادي نجاوبك يا استاذ، نجاوبك بعجاله وفي عجاله. هو جهاز اللات هو جهاز يفترضه تشومسكي في العقل الإنساني كأداة أو كجهاز يمكننا من اكتساب اللغة، يعني كمتكلمين أصليين. أوكي. فالإنسان أو الطفل عندما يولد بهذا الجهاز اللي هو مفترض في العقل ديال المولود ربما، وكيتطور وكيكون عنده واحد العلاقه مع المحيط ديالو اللغوي. وبعد 5 سنوات هذا اللاد راه كيخدم بوحدو، غير حط الطفل في مجتمع معين، في مجتمع لغوي معين، وغادي يتمكن من اكتساب اللغة بعد 5 سنوات. وهناك أدلة عديدة وبراهين أوكي براهين تدل على وجود جهاز اسمه اللاد، من بينها يعني ما يسمى بلا creativity، the ability to create. مثلا الأخطاء اللي كنديروها، مثلا نقول لك المراوات حيت عندي براوات، دونك مراوات ما كايناش، ولكن الطفل كيدير هذا الخطأ، مما يدل على أن عقله يعني نشط، وهذا ما يدل على اللاد. ثم أن بعد 5 سنوات، وهذا يعني شأن الأطفال كاملين في العالم، كيوصلوا ل5 سنوات وكيوليو يهضروا اللغة ديالهم بطريقة يعني متقنة. أوكي. كيكون عندهم ديك الملكة اللغوية، يتملكون ناصية اللغة كأنهم زعما متكلمون منذ زمن طويل. أوكي. هذا أيضا يدل على أن هناك شيء اسمه اللاد نولد به كبشر. وهذه هي النظريه ديال تشومسكي في الغالب. انا لخصتها لك في عجاله. اذا كان شي سؤال اخر مرحبا نجاوب عليه ان شاء الله، خصوصا في هذا لان حنا كنخصو استاذ سميتو كنخصو واحد الحيز في هذا اللايف هذا. دونك الا سولني شي واحد، الا سولنا حد بالعربيه نجاوبو بالعربيه، ما عندنا حتى شي مشكل. اوكي. ما كاين حتى شي مشكل، نجاوبوك بالدارجه، نحاولوا نجاوبوك ميم في اللغه العربيه الفصحى، وان كنا نلحن في القول اوكي بين الفينه والاخرى ان شاء الله. وان شاء الله ساعمل على رفع فيديوهات باللغه العربيه ان شاء الله، وربما اذا كان اسئله غادي نجاوب عليها. دونك جو فيرم لا بارونتيز. ثانك يو فيري ماتش. ان شاء الله ان جي بروف ان شاء الله غنهضروا عليها ان شئت باللغه العربيه، ما عندي حتى شي مشكل ان شاء الله نهضروا عليها، نهضروا على حوايج اخرين ان شاء الله. ثانك يو بالدارجه، ما عندي حتى شي مشكل بالدارجه. اتس ان opportunity، غادي تكون فرصه ليا باش نتواصل مع الاخوان بالدارجه، يا اون كان بروبليم. اوكي. سو شكرا سي ان جي بروف على الزياره ديالك لهذا الموقع، هذه القناة هذه، ونتمنى إن شاء الله نتوفقوا في الإجابة على أسئلتكم. Okay, my friends. Okay. So we talked about circumfixes and clipping, blending, and there might be others that we will consider perhaps later on. بارك الله فيك. Look at what he's writing. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to hear this from you. بارك الله فيك NG Prof. الله يرحم والدين. That's really nice. لا نريد من طلبتنا جزاء ولا شكورا. يقولون غير الله يرحم والدين if they want. That's all. Okay. Thank you. Okay, my friends, let's switch into English, and maybe this is something that that is probably likely to be given in an exam in Introduction to Linguistics in the morphology part. طلبة بني ملال، كنت جيت عندكم بني ملال مع واحد الصديق ديالي أستاذ، عرض عليا تما، درت لهم واحد الورك شوب، واحد الورشة في لا ستاتيستيك، في الإحصاء، في البحث التربوي. إن شاء الله غادي نزوروا بني ملال مرة أخرى ونتلاقاو معاك إن شاء الله، نتلاقاو بك. بارك الله فيك، الله يوفق، الله يوفق. Okay, now, my friends, I have exhausted, no, not exhausted, no, I have exhausted just these points. Maybe tomorrow, inshallah, we can, yeah, that was محاضرة على الإسباسيس. Tomorrow we can carry on. ولكن الله يجزيكم بخير. إلا ما كنتوش أنا كنهضر مع الإخوان اللي غادي يدوزوا هاد سميتو الامتحان. إلا ما كنتوش ready to join, don't confirm. If you confirm, please join. That's encouraging. Okay, thank you so much, and I hope I have been of some use to you and have been of some help to you. I would like to thank you very much, all of you, you know, from Mustafa Morshid to Natalie to everyone here, all of you. Sorry, you know, everyone here is, you know, deserves a set of gratitude. Thank you, Atimed. You have stayed till the end. Thank you so much. So let's meet. If there is a need, let me say it clearly. شوفوا عافاكم. If there is a need for, you know, us to continue with linguistics, الله يخليكم, tell me. If not, we will hold a live session on another thing that does not necessarily relate to this. Okay, so thank you very much, and let's meet tomorrow, inshallah, if there is a need, of course. Thank you, Omar. Thank you, Faizat. Thank you, Stoneware, NGProf, etc. Thank you, everyone, and see you tomorrow. Have a good night.